this was real. And I don't know, it's like I just came back from Mars. How do you tell someone, I just came back from this place that's real, and there's really Martians there, and they're really cool, they've got cool technology, and all this, it's like, they're not going to believe you. That's nuts. So I just didn't talk about it. I'm still very skeptical about a lot of things in my life, but I couldn't even really tell myself this whole story. I didn't even want to think too much about it. I didn't want to really look at it. It just felt like, I don't know how to talk about this, so I'm just not gonna. And I was in a hotel room in New Jersey, and one night, something hit me, and I sat down in front of the mirror and just unloaded. I had to tell someone. And so I just looked at myself in the mirror and I just went through it all. And after that, it was just like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like I had finally told someone in a way. And I immediately picked up the phone. I'm up in Princeton, New Jersey. I called a friend of mine in Philadelphia. I'm like, hey, can I come down there and hang out? Can we get some dinner? And I went out to dinner with him. And he was so patient. And he listened to me. And I cried. And we talked, I told him about all this different stuff, and I told him the whole experience from start to finish. We were probably there for 3 hours, and he listened the whole time. It was great. And at the end of the night, he says, "Are you sure it wasn't just a dream?" I'm so glad to see you again. It was like a friend that I had not seen in so long. And it was just suddenly it clicked, it snapped with me, and I was so excited to see and talk to and catch up with and get to know my old friend once again. I was so thrilled to be having this conversation again and catching up again. But yeah, when you mention it, I guess we don't talk to God every day, right? This is kind of weird now that you mention it, and one of the communications that comes back to me is well, as you know, people don't really do this every day, and the situation might be a little more serious than you think it is. And I'm like, what are you talking? We're having a great time. We're catching up. What do you mean? What's so serious? What do you mean? I could die? And it's oh yeah. That's that. There's that thing going on. There's this thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we didn't exactly go into details, but God says to me, yeah, it's a little more serious than you think it is right now, actually. So I stood up and just turned around and started walking. And then it smacked me in the face. I was like, what just happened? What in the world just happened here? This doesn't make any sense at all. It was I'm on my feet again. I'm ready to get to it. And I had to turn back around and look again, and it was all still there. It was all still looked the same way. It was still the most beautiful thing. It was still the most beautiful place. And I was like, I'm out. And I just turned and started walking. And then, wow, I was walking for probably hours, and it got really dark. And I couldn't understand why it was so long. I'd been walking for so long. And I remember the party was up on this cliff, and there was this light up here. It was like a floodlight or something. And I thought, the party must be up there. The path is over here, though. I don't care about the light. I'm going this way. I purposely did not go that way. I kind of wonder about that now, right? I just kept toward the path. I turned away from the light and kept walking toward that path. And what really had happened in real life was I had stood up, took a couple steps. My vision had started to black out. It happens, in life. You get a little feeling sometimes maybe you stand up a little bit too fast, and you just keep sending the signals to your feet, right, to your limbs, like, okay, just keep walking. Hopefully when everything comes back, you'll still be walking. For me, the walking just kept happening in my head. My body went straight down into the sand, and my body tried to vomit these nuts that are giving me now anaphylactic shock. And at that point, my throat was closed up pretty well, and some of that went back down into my lungs, and so I was locked up. I was not breathing at that point. Back in my world, it's really dark, and I'm still walking, and I start to hear these voices, and it's an argument, and I hear it's my girlfriend's voice, and she's arguing with her stepmother, and I come to look, and as I look to see this argument or these people talking, I notice that I'm looking down at them from an elevated position, and I thought right away, we're on the balcony. I'm at the house. It was a bad dream. I woke up. I've come to the balcony. I'm looking down into the living room, and there they are. They must be in the living room arguing or something. I see the two of them arguing. I see this thing, this kind of lump over here. I think was me, really. But it's almost like they were being, in a way, like I could see the beach. I could see them. It was almost though it was like a spotlight that was being shown on them, in a way. And they're arguing about me. Her stepmother was a nurse who actually taught rescue breathing and CPR, and understandably did not want to perform rescue breathing on me because my face was covered with sand and vomit, right? And it was totally gross. And I'm like, hey, I'm cool, I'm fine. I go to them, I'm like, hey, you can stop arguing. Like, I'm okay. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. It's okay. I'm okay. And please stop. They're not listening to me. Please stop arguing. Why aren't you listening to me? Why don't you hear me? They can't hear me. They're continuing to argue. Finally, she does convince her stepmom. And it was like at that moment I saw her go down to give me some rescue breathing, and just in a moment after that I remember looking through my own eyes and being like slammed into reality. And there's all these people around me, and they're all asking me, what you get asked in those situations. What day is it? Who's the president? What's your name? How old are you? Whatever. And I didn't care. I could see their lips moving. I knew what they were asking me. But I was still, I was in shock, I guess, but I was looking at them, but behind them were people helping them, helping me, if that makes sense. And they were there but not there, and this is another place where I have a really hard time explaining what I was seeing. People, as soon as you say the word angel, a lot of people think of babies with wings, with little harps and things like that. That's not, but I would say probably what I was seeing was angel or entity type people that I felt like were on that other side and who were there to help those people that were helping me. And that and that light was back again, that view was there, and the only thing that I really could focus on, the only thing I heard was just the rhythm of the waves coming in and out on that beach. It was the only thing I could really focus on. It's less now for me about that time or experiencing death, where now in my life I am appreciating more that every experience I feel like we have is a near-death experience. Every decision that we have is a life-changing decision. I feel like, hey folks, this is the end of your life. Okay? Like, and I've really tried to grasp that. You know, like I've had a couple friends lately. I had a friend on Facebook not too long ago. I was like, I haven't talked to him in a while. What's he doing? I'm going through his Facebook feed. It's like, oh, he's did this whole video. He's like, I'm eating broccoli now. I talked to my doctor. I'm trying to get my cholesterol down. All that. Oh, that's pretty cool. He's eating more healthy. What's going on? And it's like, there's the end of his feed. He passed away a year ago. It's like, you don't know when. You can make the decision. You can know that maybe something's wrong in your life, and you can make the decisions and start taking the medication or start the therapy and decide and completely change all of your life's decisions. I'm done with that. I'm moving on. But your body may not be. And it might be done tomorrow. It might be done today. This moment is the end of our life. And so I try to wake up every morning and try to think to myself, okay, well, if I died at this moment, am I going to be happy with the conversations I had 3 hours ago, 6 hours ago? Am I going to be happy? You know, what would you do if you knew, and that's what I try to do on every single one of these shows, because I love what I do so much. It really has been so much fun for me that every single show I ever performed at Pacific Science Center, every time I've performed a huge show at Wembley Stadium or whatever, I do this one thing. No one else does it for some reason. I mean, maybe I'm nuts, but I wait. I try to be the last person out. And I turn around and I look at the theater and I say goodnight. And I try to remember how much fun it was I had today. Because we don't know. You don't know if you're not going to get a chance to come back tomorrow. And that's definitely one thing that changed after my near-death experience. I started doing that. Every time I have a big thing, or even you just try to do that even in everyday life too. At first, after my near-death experience, I used to not fear death as much. It kind of made me almost in a way feel bulletproof in some situations. Like, who cares? I started to take risks and not care so much about certain things, but the older I get and the more I look back on that, the more I think, no, it's really about valuing the life. There really is, yes, I don't feel afraid of that moment anymore. I don't look at that moment with fear. I don't look ahead and think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen when that happens? More what I think about is, am I going to have checked all the boxes on my list when that moment gets here? That's the freak out for me. It's going to come. It's going to come for all of us. When it gets here, will the quality of my relationships have been worth it? Will the quality of my experiences here with these people have been good and constructive? Will the things that I've affected the world around me with, will there be a lasting positive impact after I'm gone? Those are the things I'm more concerned about now. And trying to help and encourage other people to find the value in their own lives, I guess, and the confidence to do the things that make them happy.